I'm going to start right off the bat here today, and I'm going to show you a chart that I saw over the weekend. Have a look at this. What do you see on here that I say is at best interesting and at worst concerning? Now, when I first saw this, honestly, it caught me off guard. Consumer spending, the blue line here, historically that has been the engine of American growth. That's been losing steam. And in its place now, spending on AI, the green line, has exploded and is now the biggest driver of GDP. And this shift to me is both exciting and unsettling at the same time, because when one hot sector starts sort of pulling all of that weight, then history tells us that the risks are going way up. And that's where I think we are today. I want to look at what's happening. I want to share with you why I say that my concerns about sustainability are absolutely valid and how this moment compares to the tech bubble of the late 1990s. And I'm going to look at two possible scenarios of what I think the AI story might play out, whether it's either a dot-com crash model or a smoother growth model. So I want to start here with the basics and why I say that you should pay attention to this whole issue. For decades now, the U.S. economic growth has relied primarily on one thing, and that's consumer spending. We've all heard this. Roughly 70% of GDP that comes from households buying goods, buying services, everything from groceries, cars, vacations, all that type of thing. But now that contribution has been slowing down. People are being more cautious. Inflation has taken away some of the purchasing power. And today that growth is coming increasingly from artificial intelligence. And when we look at this data, billions and billions of dollars are flowing into AI data centers, some chips, cloud services, and then of course software. And these companies are pouring more and more money into this space on the bet that it's going to be revolutionary and it will deliver big payoffs down the road. And for now, that investment is showing up in that GDP growth. But here's what I say is the problem. Investment alone, this does not equal sustainable growth. You can build as many data centers as you want, but if those investments don't turn into higher productivity, higher profits, stronger wages, then the whole economy starts looking pretty fragile. And I say it is like building miles and miles of highways in the middle of nowhere. You're going to get a short-term boost from all that construction, but unless people start driving on those roads, you don't get any lasting value. And when we look at that chart, AI is acting like that single engine that's trying to pull the whole train, in this case, the economic train. If that stalls out, there isn't as much backup there as we normally have. So that brings me to the big question. Is AI a genuine growth engine, or is it just another bubble? Now, on one hand, I do understand the optimism here. AI has enormous potential to reshape industries, and I'm talking across the board. This is not just theoretical anymore. We're actually seeing that happen. We are already seeing AI writing code, of course, analyzing data, helping discover new drugs. I mean, this is all good stuff. But on the other hand, a lot of the current surge in spending has to feel speculative if you're really being honest, or if you're keeping it real. We look at companies are spending ahead of proven returns. The valuations for AI stocks right now are stretched, and especially when you look at the handful of mega cap firms that are leading the charge. Just like previous bubbles, this narrative has taken on a life of its own. And AI now is the thing that everyone feels they have to be a part of, whether they understand what's actually happening or not. And this is where I believe that the historical comparison becomes useful. To understand where we're headed, I want to look back at the last great hype cycle. That's the dot-com bubble. And if you're old enough, then I hope you remember that. If you're younger, you do need to learn from history. As Mark Twain said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And also Winston Churchill, I think he's accredited for saying, those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So let's take this as a learning opportunity. Now, I want to look here at the similarities between what's happening today and the dot-com bubble. And the parallels that I see between today and the tech wreck, I believe, are real. First of all, there's a lot of hype-driven investment. That is the biggest thing right now. And when we think back to the late 90s, anytime you put .com on a company name, you would raise millions or hundreds of millions of dollars, even if you didn't have a clear business model. And it seems today, when we look back kind of like at a joke at what actually happened, but it was real. Today, I see AI as carrying that sort of mystical power, just like we saw back with the .com back in the day. Today, companies are rushing to announce their AI strategies, often like we saw in the tech crash days, with very little substance behind them, and they're doing that just to keep investors happy, just to keep up with the big players. And if you've listened to any earnings calls in the past couple of years, you're going to know exactly what I mean. Now, second, concentration in a few stocks. Back then, the NASDAQ was dominated by Cisco, by Intel, Oracle, Microsoft. I'm going to throw a tech era Cisco chart up here just for fun. And yes, you're looking at an 80% price drop for what at the time was the world's most valuable company. Today, NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Meta, these are driving most of those S&P 500 gains. And again, I just say here, we need to keep it real. When growth is concentrated like that, the market becomes more fragile. Now, the third thing on my list here today is speculative valuations. Thinking back to 2000, a ton of these dot-com stocks traded at astronomical PE ratios, like crazy high valuations. Many of them had no earnings at all. Now, today, when we look at the AI leaders, they trade at valuations that assume that this extraordinary growth is going to continue far into the future. And that leaves a very small margin of error for any disappointment. Now, finally, when we look at this analysis here, a surge in capital spending. Back then, fiber optic cables, server farms. Today, the equivalent is GPUs, data centers, AI infrastructure. Hundreds of billions of dollars now are being invested on the assumption that demand will eventually catch up. It's projected that around $364 billion will be spent on CapEx this year alone by NVIDIA, Amazon, Google, and Meta. All of these things, they do echo the late 1990s, and that's what makes me a little bit nervous right now. But I also say this isn't just a repeat of 2000. There are some important differences that I think AI might play out, probably will play out more positively than we saw during the dot-com bubble. Not guaranteed, but let's look at a few of those things. First of all, I'm going to talk about proven business models. And when we think back to the internet boom, that was full of startups that had no real revenue or realistically no chance of survival. Pets.com became the poster child for that. AI today, that's dominated by some tech giants with strong balance sheets. They got diversified revenues, billions and billions of dollars in free cash flow. So these companies today, they can afford to invest heavily without having a risk of going bust. And that is a huge difference from what we saw back in the late 1990s. Now, we think about real productivity potential. And in 2000, think about online shopping. It was really an unproven, sort of clunky model at the time. Internet speeds weren't developed yet. They were pretty slow. And a lot of the business models that were being developed just didn't work at the time. I say, though, with AI today, we already see a lot of practical applications. Probably everybody here uses AI to some extent. Faster coding, we see automated customer service benefits, more efficient logistics, all kinds of reasons that we can say that the business model actually is workable today. So I think the issue is more about scale, not just the possibility. The model, I think, has been proven, but how quickly can it scale up? Now, third, we have better infrastructure today. Thinking back to the 1990s, we lacked definitely the bandwidth that we see today. Mobile devices weren't as ubiquitous as they are now, and we certainly didn't have the cloud computing capacity to support such widespread internet use that the valuations at the time were calling for. I think the industry got way, way, way over its skis. Today, though, AI is definitely building on an existing backbone, right? You got the cloud, you got high-speed internet, very, very powerful hardware. So the structure, I think, is in place today. Now, finally, the policy and the geopolitics. And in 2000, the internet, yeah, it was important. It was sort of exciting, but it wasn't really seen yet at the time as a matter of national security. And that makes it far more likely that the governments are going to continue to support and to subsidize AI development. So while there are real risks, AI isn't just an exact replica of what we saw. It's not exactly modeling that bubble that we saw 25 years ago, I guess now. It's more like a very powerful technology, but it may be being funded at an unsustainable pace. The underlying tech is real. The risk lies in how fast the investment is running ahead of the payoff. So let's look at what lies ahead. As I said, I want to map out a couple of different timelines here. First one, it follows the dot-com pattern of boom, crash, and recovery. The other is more where growth comes in waves, but does prove to be more sustainable. So scenario one is the dot-com pattern. So where we are right now, I think that we could be at that peak hype that we saw just before the crash back in 2000, 2001. Right now, we are seeing AI spending going crazy. Data centers, chips, they're driving GDP higher. But consumer spending, as we saw, that's continuing to weaken. We're seeing stock valuations push higher and higher, and the startups are flooding the market. That's a similar scenario to what we saw back then. So I'm saying, let's say next year as an example, we're going to see that market correction. We're going to see earnings disappointing. The hype is going to fade, and all stocks are going to take a big hit. All stocks in this space, probably 20, 30% for the big players, 50% or more for the smaller ones. And that's a realistic scenario. It could be worse than that. We're going to see a lot of startups just go bankrupt, or they might get acquired by the big guys. in the fire sales. Then after that, we're going to see the shakeout where the survivors consolidate their power. Microsoft, Google, Nvidia, Amazon, a handful of others, they will emerge stronger. I really believe in that. That's what we saw back during the tech crash. When we look at the real use cases, they will expand across all the industries. I think of healthcare, finance, defense, these are some of the more poignant ones, but pretty much across the board, we're going to see this AI technology being put to use once all of that fallout has happened, and productivity will finally start showing up in all of the data. Then we get to the sustainable growth phase where AI becomes embedded across all the industries, just like the internet did after its crash. We're going to see GDP growth stabilizing, and that painful correction that we're going to go through that's remembered as necessary. It's part of the cycle when you filter out all the no's. So this is the boom and bust path. It's painful in the short run, but ultimately it is transformative in the longer run. Now, the second scenario, this is the cloud computing path. And where we are right now, it's strong, but the growth is bumpy. And AI is continuing to drive investment. But the big difference here is that returns in this scenario, the second scenario, will start showing up faster. That is the key to this whole picture here. Companies will start monetizing their AI inside of products that they already sell. So we think of Microsoft Office, Google Cloud, AWS. The productivity improvements are going to appear sooner. That's the ideal scenario. Then let's say a couple of years out, I still think we're going to see a cooling, and we might see that mini bust cycle. I think we're going to see valuations be trimmed, but instead of having any major crashes, there's going to be some modest corrections, 10%, 20%. I think that scenario is very, very likely. Again, the smaller players, they're not going to survive this. They will be absorbed into the larger ones. The sectors are going to consolidate, but we're not going to see that big wipeout. That is certainly a possibility under scenario one. I think back to 1909, there were nearly 500 car companies operating across North America. Everyone thought that they would be the ones that make it big. But it is always the case in a new industry like this. The industry consolidated into fewer companies. Today, there's around 10 or so companies that account for the vast majority of global auto sales. We're going to see some of that this time around as well. We pretty much have to. Now, when I look 3, 4, 5 years out, AI will be part of every business stack, just like cloud computing is today. We went through the tough phase. Now it's just something that we do all the time. GDP in this phase will get a lasting boost. There will be broad adoption. The sector will stabilize. And this second path is smoother, right? It's less dramatic, but it is just as transformative as the first scenario. So where does that leave us today? Truth is, of course, that nobody knows exactly what path we're going to follow. But here's what I will say. If AI spending keeps racing ahead without any clear payoffs, then the dot-com style correction seems like a more likely scenario to me. But if we do see the adoption spreading faster, if profits show up sooner, then we might get that second scenario. It's going to be bumpy, I do project, but maybe steadier. Now, either way, AI is not going away. I also do believe that even if there's a crash, the underlying technology today is just too powerful. It's too valuable and too globally strategic to disappear. The real question isn't whether AI will change the economy. It's going to be. It's just a matter of how rocky or how messy that journey is going to be. So yes, I do believe my concerns about the sustainability are valid. I'm going to go right back to that first chart that I showed. AI is pulling a lot of the economic weight right now, probably too much. And that creates the fragility. It also creates, of course, opportunity. If we look at history as a guide, the winners are going to be those that can see past the hype, that can survive through that volatile phase, position themselves for the long-term transformation that, no question in my mind, AI will bring. Now, I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Heck, maybe even like the video. That would be nice. And let me know in the comments, do you think that we're headed for a dot-com style crash or just a straight up AI boom? Share your thoughts in the comments. As always, thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next video.